Hi, I'm Kevin with the Y Richmond, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. You clicked the thumbnail or you read the title, so you know today we're talking about lucid dreaming. I'm really excited about this. Last year I did a video where I revealed some secrets about myself. They were super juicy. I'm kidding. They were not juicy at all. But one of the things that came up is the fact that I'm a lucid dreamer. So I wanted to do a video where I delved a little bit more into that and talked about lucid dreaming, but then time got away from me and it didn't happen. But since one of my goals in 2023 is to consciously make sure my actions match my intentions, I'm doing it. So what is lucid dreaming? For anybody out there that doesn't know, lucid dreaming is defined as becoming aware that you're dreaming while you're in the dream. So basically, you're dreaming and you know you're dreaming. It usually happens during REM sleep, but there is one study that said it's a hybrid state of consciousness, basically a cross between the waking state and REM sleep. But a lot of the studies have found that it occurs usually in REM sleep. I started lucid dreaming when I was a little kid, so it was really interesting for me because for a really long time, like until my adult years, I literally thought everybody dreamed like this. I thought everybody had control of their dreams and can do like these fantastical things if they wanted to. It was much later when I started having more conversations with people that I discovered this was not the case. In fact, lucid dreaming is quite rare. Only half the population knows lucid dreaming from personal experience, and then I think it was like only 20% experience lucid dreaming on a regular basis, and only 1% experience it on a weekly basis. But that got me thinking, because it's so rare, why do people lucid dream? Like, what's the deal behind it? And personally, I'm a spiritual man myself, and there have been some really insightful people who talked about dreaming and what happens to your soul when you're asleep. Lee Harris has this book called Conversations with the Z's, and they have a really good section where they talk about sleeping and what your soul does when you're asleep and when you're dreaming. And I do believe Neil Donald Walsh, he talked about sleep and what happens to your soul when you're asleep in Conversations with God, book number 2. Those dudes are super insightful to me, and the things that they said really resonated with me. And so if you're interested in more of a metaphysical explanation, I highly recommend Conversations with Aziz and also Conversations with God, books 1, 2, and 3. They're really good, but I looked into the science of it as well, and really there's not a lot of solid science on lucid dreaming. One of the themes I kept seeing is that it's really difficult to measure, and so the studies and the research is fairly limited. I mean, in fact, lucid dreaming, the term lucid dreaming wasn't even coined until 1913. And just to put it into perspective, I believe that Robert Hooke, he coined the term cell in like 1665 or something like that. So scientists have been trying to understand what we are for a really long time, but lucid dreaming, and probably just dreaming in general, hasn't been at the top of the priority list. So there isn't like a ton of research about why we lucid dream. But they did find that people who commonly lucid dream have a larger prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for high-level tasks like making decisions and remembering things. And they found that some people who commonly lucid dream have more gray matter in their frontal cortices as well. So I think as time continues to progress, more and more research is being done on why we lucid dream, which I'm super curious about. Okay, I digress. You're like, wait, I thought you were gonna tell me how to lucid dream. What are you doing going on all these tangents? Yes, I'm gonna tell you how to lucid dream. So I'm gonna give you some methods that science has discovered that could help you lucid dream. Okay, so let's get into it. How do you lucid dream? There's 4 methods that I kept seeing in all the research I was going through. The first method is reality testing, and it's literally just that. You test your reality during your waking times to see if you can do things that you normally would not be able to do, like maybe push your hand through the wall, or you would try to fly, or you would try to see if you can breathe with your nose pinched and your mouth closed, like things that would not happen. And the thought of it is that you do these things during the day and you try them when you're asleep and you'll get vastly different results. And therefore, you know you're in a dream. Boom, you're lucid. The next one is called MILD, or that's an acronym. It stands for Mnemonic Induction of Lucid Dreaming. And this one is one of the ones that involves like going to sleep and then waking up. And with the mnemonic induction of lucid dreaming, you go to sleep for a few hours, you wake up, think about the dream that you just had, and then you tell yourself some version of a command that's like basically, the next time I'm dreaming, I'll know I'm dreaming. And then you go back to sleep. And hopefully, if you repeat this enough, when you go back to sleep, you will realize that you are dreaming. I mean, yeah. Okay, so that's mild. The next one is called Wake Up, Back to Bed. And this is another one where you like intentionally wake yourself up. So this one, you intentionally wake yourself up with an alarm and you stay up for a certain amount of time and then you go back to sleep. And then you do it again. And the thought is that like you will become accustomed to knowing that you're waking up and then going back to sleep. So when you go back to sleep, you'll realize that you're in a dream because you're not waking up. You're asleep and you're in a dream, right? Yeah. The last one I kept saying was called external stimuli. And basically this one was where there's like devices used to externally deliver something to you, like whether it's a flashing light or tones or smells or different sounds that can trigger you to realize, oh, that's happening outside and I'm noticing it in my dream, and therefore I know that I'm in a dream. And then boom, you're lucid dreaming. Listen, I haven't done the research on this, and so I don't know about all of these, but I did try one of them. Last night I tried the reality testing one just to see if it was worth, because I mean, I feel like the waking up and going back to sleep ones just seem a little bit intense for me personally. They could work for you, but I did think the reality testing one was interesting because one of the things that I read about the reality testing one was like, oh, pinch your nose and see if you could breathe in your dream with your nose closed, right? And I thought to myself, wow, have I ever checked to see if I could breathe with my nose and mouth closed in a dream? And I was like, no. I mean, I personally know that I can't drown in my dreams, but that's usually because like I fly away. Like if I'm in a situation with water and I'm having a problem swimming or whatever, I usually just fly away. I'm not big on water in my dreams. I'm not big on water, and I'm not big on driving in dreams. I don't know why. That's like, I don't know, soul doesn't like it or something doesn't like it, so I don't vibe with that. But anyway, I decided to see last night if I could actually breathe without having my nose or mouth open. And it worked. It was so crazy. I was in a dream, and the dream was like this world where there were two castes, basically. There was like a caste that lived above the ground, and there was a society that lived below ground. And my friend, he needed some medicine that you could only get underground. And so he was like, I'm going to get this medicine. I have to have it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go with you. But everybody kept telling us, don't go underground. Don't go underground. The world is crazy. They'll try to kill you. It's going to be horrible. But he was determined. And so like I was by his side. And as we were going down to like the underground part of the society, for some reason, Kumail Nanjiani decided that he was going to come and escort us down there because he said he was familiar with it and it was very dangerous, but he can make sure that we got down there safe. And like, I remember thinking, I was laughing a little bit because I was like, what? Kumail Nanjiani? But anyway, he escorted us down there, and when we were going through like these tunnels, there were scary looking people who like had guns and stuff, but like they didn't bother us. He just like kind of nodded at them and they let us go through. And then when we got to like the opening of the underground society, it was not as terrible as everybody was telling us, and it didn't seem as scary as they were telling us either. Like it wasn't as polished, as the above ground society, but it was like by no means District 9 or whatever those districts were in the Hunger Games. It was not as bleak as that at all. And so anyway, he was looking for the medicine, and this lady, she helped him, and she like guided him and helped him find the medicine. And then she decided to show us like the underground world, and she started explaining to us about the society and everything. And it was like, it's like, oh wow, this is literally not what we've been taught. But as she was explaining it to him, like all these little kids like started coming up to us, and they were like, oh, outsiders, outsiders, or whatever. And they were trying to play with us, and they were trying to play with me, and I was playing along with them. And like in every dream that I have, I can basically fly. I always can fly, and I always have like some sort of magic. So when I was playing with the little kids, I started flying around them, and they were like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I would like pick them up and fly them around too. But this one little kid, while I was flying, he started like making goofy faces at me. And one of the faces he made, like he pinched his nose, and he was like making a silly face. And when he did that, he made me think of the reality test. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect time to see if I can breathe in a dream while my nose and mouth are closed. So I thought it would be really funny if like I pinched my nose, and like as I pinched my nose, I started puffing up my cheeks, and as I puffed up my cheeks, I started floating like a balloon or something. It was goofy, but I did it. I started going, and then I just like started floating around, and he was like, oh, he was like so excited. And all the other kids were like laughing, and they were like having a good time, and I was having a good time too. But like my lucid self was like, oh wow, I don't need air to breathe in a dream. The reality test worked. So the reality test is one that I can, well, I guess I can't fully, because I didn't test my reality during my waking times, because I already know how to lucid dream. But I can confirm that if you try the reality test in a dream, it will make you become aware. Because shortly after I was like, oh, the reality test worked, the dream ended, and I woke up. And I was like, oh, that was a fun dream, but whatever, it happened. Last night I also noticed for the first time that like being cognizant, or like consciously saying, oh, this is a dream, or that I'm lucid dreaming, it caused the dreams to end fairly quickly. Usually for me, I am aware that I'm dreaming, but it's kind of like there's two me's. There's me asleep in the bed, and I know that I'm dreaming. So sometimes I watch the dream, just like I'm watching a movie or a TV show or something. And then sometimes I'm more actively participating in the dream, and it feels like a virtual reality situation. But the two can communicate with each other. Sometimes my sleeping self that's in the bed will be like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy dream. And then myself that's like in the dream experiencing it will be like, yeah, this is wild, right? Let's change it, or let's see where this goes. One of the things that I kept reading was that lucid dreaming for everyone is so different. Like it's not always the same. Dreaming is different for everybody, so lucid dreaming is going to be different for everybody. Dreams are wild, but I think they're pretty interesting. If you're still watching this, I love you. Please comment below if you plan on trying any of these methods to lucid dream, and let me know, like keep me posted on your progress. If you already lucid dream, my people, I want to hear from you. Comment, let me know what works for you, what doesn't work for you, how long have you been doing it. Let's share stories and talk about some of our wildest dreams. That would be amazing. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Tick that bell for notifications. And until then, my friend, I'll see you next time.